let's get this started.
All right.
All right. How is everybody doing today? We have a brand new episode on the channel. It's going to be called Chatin with the Chat. We're going to be doing this probably 2, maybe 3 times a week. And we're going to be bringing on different co-hosts. But the first co-host that we have on today is Lord Stark. Just tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Hey everyone, how's it going? So I'm Lord Stark. I've been playing Clash Royale since it got released 2 years ago. Living in New York, also on Long Island, and been playing a lot of Mortar Hog decks. You can find me. My Twitch handle's down below. Also started streaming on Twitch not too long ago. Lord Stark CR as well.
Yeah, that'll be in the descriptions below, guys, of the video on YouTube. So we got a couple of topics to talk about today. The first one that I want to talk about, though, is Clash Royale just released, I think it was today. They said that they were going to give us a little sneak peek on what is to be changed in the next balance update tomorrow. So it's going to be really, really interesting. And what I want to do is I want to talk about 2 of the cards that potentially could be changed. I know one of them almost guaranteed is, and that's going to be the Royal Ghost. So the Royal Ghost, what's your opinion on this? How could it get nerfed? Because I'm pretty sure every single person knows that this card is a little broken in a sense. How do you think this could be nerfed?
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Definitely in need of a nerf, and I've been hearing everything across the board on the nerf, and I think ultimately, just at its core, what it really needs is an HP nerf. And what that really comes down to, I think, is the mechanics of the card. When you think about it, the Royal Ghost is kind of this invisible troop that's designed to go up to these your opponent's troops and then kind of jump out, can't be targeted, hits them, knocks them down pretty quickly. And in that sense, it's really designed to function almost like an assassin. And when you have this assassin that's almost as tanky as a knight, that just poses a problem. And as you've seen, we've just seen the knight decrease in usage rates and the Royal Ghost just explode. And really at the end of the day, it's because it just can't be that tanky and also serve the role as an assassin. And I've been hearing so many other things about, maybe moving it up to 4 elixir, or maybe adjusting the invisibility. But at the end of the day, I don't think that those are nearly as good options as just nerfing the HP on that Royal Ghost.
All right, so nerf on the HP. We're looking at 5%, 7%, 10%. Clash Royale usually goes with either the 5 or the 10%. With that in mind, do you think it needs more of a 10% HP nerf or more of a 5%?
I think you got to go either one of 2 routes. Probably either just a solo 10% nerf to the HP, or you could couple the 5% somewhere in the 5 to 7 range, also with maybe a slight tweak to the re-invisibility time. I think as of now, the Royal Ghost will go invisible again in between hitting Spear Goblins out of the Spear Goblin hut, and I think it's just a little bit too fast. So I would and I could definitely understand a slight nerf to that as well. And so I think it's either kind of a solo nerf to the HP around the 10% mark, or a 5 to 7% with a slight tweak on the re-invisibility time.
All right, I personally think 7% health nerf, 1 more second to popping back into invisibility after it's done. And maybe even a 3% damage nerf to the card. It's definitely really, really overpowered. But I would definitely go only 5% health to start. Definitely the 1 second on the invisibility time. And then I would probably just reduce the damage just a little bit, because it feels like it is a faster knight that just is a little less tankier, but it goes invisible and it causes problems. I mean, people can just throw it at the bridge, and that's the main, thing about the card that makes it overpowered and broken.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I understand that. I feel like hitting it on three different fronts is going to absolutely kill that card. And at the end of the day, I think it's not the physical damage that's the problem. I think it's the health. When you put something like a Royal Ghost straight at the bridge and it goes straight onto a tower as compared to a Bandit, it deals about 500 more damage. And that's not because its damage output is that much higher. It's because it's 5 extra 4 or 5 princess hits. So I think really changing the HP on that is going to fix the damage problem. And a quick question: when you're saying you want to like the reinvisibility time, you want to adjust that 1 second. Are you saying to 1 second or plus 1 second, putting it to like a 1.7
Plus
second
1 second.
reinvisibility? Plus
Add
1 second.
another second to the invisibility. Because I feel that you can't hit a spear goblin, go invisible, hit another spear goblin, or maybe even go 0.7 seconds more. Maybe not a full second, maybe 0.7. And that'll maybe balance the card. So maybe we'll go 0.7 on the re-invisibility extra. I'm talking about what it is
Yeah.
now. Add 0.7. And minus 5% hit points and minus 3% damage. But enough talking about cards that need to be nerfed. They also talked about cards that also need to be buffed. We have another card that's relatively new that just came into the meta, and that is the Hunter. And I feel like we need to buff the Hunter. Do you have any thoughts on how you could buff the Hunter a little bit and give it a little bit of an extra juice?
Oh, definitely. I think like as of now, the hunter does good in very unique circumstances. And when I think about it, when I would want to use the hunter, it would be, if I have a giant or a golem coming into the lane, I can drop the hunter right on it, and it will definitely blow that giant out of the water pretty quick. But then I think about when the hunter doesn't do well, and I realize it's in pretty much every other circumstance other than my initial placement of the hunter. So I think there needs to be a buff to assist it after it's been initially placed. And the way to really do that is by tweaking the way that its damage is reduced over the distance and the range of its attack. I mean, I know it's a shotgun at the end of the day, but I think at the edge of its range, it's not dealing enough damage. And especially as it moves away from the initial target, if you're playing it on a giant, it's going to at the edge of its range again and just be dealing the least amount of possible damage so frequently that it's just not actually going to be useful in a lot of scenarios. And actually, like, I think it ends up being worse than if we were to put something like a cannon down, because if you put a cannon down, you're going to distract that giant or that golem. And then also that cannon has the potential to survive and help you in a future scenario, whereas the hunter is just going to walk off and be ultimately killed by the tower. And it's just not going to do any damage after you initially put it down. And I think that is the area that needs to be fixed.
Do you think if the cone radius would be maybe 33% smaller, so like instead of it spreading like this, maybe spread a little bit less? Maybe that'll help it out, give it a little bit more, juice. That way we'll do more damage to a tower. Because, like, when it goes to your tower, you can pretty much just laugh at it. It's only going to do what? Like, 300 damage? It's like, all right, well, the hunter's on my tower. Okay.
It's also tank it. Yeah, that's fine. I 100% agree that we could kind of reduce the width of its attack. I don't see many situations where it's really beneficial that the hunter can kind of hit almost sideways. So I definitely think that reducing that width would be fine.
So now, are we looking at any hit point or damage tweaks to the card? Or are we just looking at maybe just, that cone effect, coming down? What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to a slight buff to HP, but I don't think it's necessarily an issue now. It still does survive Fireball at tournament level standards, which is what I really think it needs to do. If it survived with slightly more health, I think that would be fine as well. But really, I think the main focus has to be kind of the adjusting the damage. But I could see maybe like a 3% buff to the hunter. Ultimately, theoretically, like when you think about it, it should probably survive with a little bit more health than a Mega Minion does. It does cost one more elixir, so I could definitely see maybe like a 3% increase along with that damage change as well. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it just needs just a little tweak. I mean, it's a good card. It's a good card, but it's still a bottom of the barrel card. Just like you said, it's kind of irrelevant. Once it cleans up and does everything, and it just walks on its own. It's almost like every other card you have to deal with when it crosses the bridge. The Hunter, if it's at 50% HP or whatever, instead of a Musketeer hitting your tower twice or 3 times doing a ton of damage, it's only going to do maybe like 150, 200 damage. It's not going to be relevant. So I feel like make the cone maybe 30%, tighter, and then maybe give it, I would say a 1% damage, 2% damage increase, maybe even a 1%, because it doesn't need that much. And then I would say maybe even tweak the hit points by like 2% and then leave it like that. I feel like it's not in a bad place, but it just needs that little buff to make it more prevalent. Now, right before we go on to our next topic here, Woody just mentioned something in the chat about the Royal Ghost. Now, what would you think about, would giving a longer sight help to nerf the Royal Ghost, making it easier to kite and control its movement as a defender? So, like, having it have, like, maybe like a Hog Rider, like a little bit, like, further range, so it just moves and get kited very, very easily. Or would that just make the card useless?
I don't think that would have the beneficial effect you would expect. Like when I'm thinking about putting an Ice Golem, if you have a Royal Ghost coming in the left side and you throw an Ice Golem over on the right, yeah, you're going to kite the Royal Ghost, but your Princess Tower isn't going to be attacking it. The Royal Ghost is going to be chasing the Ice Golem, not really catching up too quick. It's going to be invisible. It's not really going to help the way I think it needs to. So I'm not sure that a sight change would, like a change to the range of its sight is really going to cause the Royal Ghost to be that much easier to handle.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it might not be the greatest solution, but at the same time, it's hard to tell unless we're playing it on the dev build and really testing that out. But let's move on to our next topic, and our next topic is how to fix tournaments. Now, tournaments have been a major problem in the game ever since they nerfed the rewards for them, and there really hasn't been a way, even that they have come up with to make it viable again. Do you have any thoughts on how to fix tournaments?
Yeah, definitely. And I think first off, couldn't agree more that tournaments are falling a little bit flat right now. And when I think about just the investment of putting an hour into straight matches to potentially get like 5 cards, I'd almost rather jump in a classic challenge for 10 gems and get something better out of it. And I think there's 2 easy ways that we can go ahead and put tournaments in a better spot than they are now. First off is kind of rebuffing the reward system, giving slightly more cards. It's just it's not enough. It's not really worth it. And then I think the other way that we can provide kind of some fresh light on it is adding more customization to the tournament organizer, giving them the ability to set bans, set requirements for cards. And I know in the past, Supercell has had challenges where you kind of have that separate battle deck next to the side, and they've locked in the E-Wiz, and you have to pick the other 7 cards. And I think allowing functionality like that, where you can kind of set parameters, is something that's is easy implementation into these tournaments to kind of help make them more exciting, more challenging, and kind of more flexible, and definitely more advantageous to the people who are taking the gems to organize them in the first place.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And with that in mind, there's another thing that I think it might just be a band-aid to the tournaments. It's not going to fix it completely. But on the side of customization, are you talking about also adding, draft challenge to it? Maybe even like a 2v2 touchdown kind of tournament as well. Triple elixir, all these mirror challenges as well that you can have in the tournament itself. I feel like those would be good additions. It will be just a band-aid, but the main question is, how are we going to get people to continue playing it without increasing the rewards? Because me personally, I played 1 tournament, and that was a Galadon tournament after maybe 2 days after they nerfed the tournaments, and I don't think I've played a tournament since then. And we're talking about since it got nerfed. I don't think I've played a custom tournament since then. I mean, I used to run it on my channel every day, and I just feel that do you think that challenges are in a good enough spot in the potential of clan battles, which Supercell kind of teased will be able to, overshadow and take over tournaments might never be as good as they once were, or even close to it.
I mean, I think Clash Royale as a whole is at a point where it needs to expand kind of the functionality and the offerings that it's currently doing. And yes, clan battles might help in that regard, but I think that doesn't really fix the existing issue with tournaments. If we aren't going to change the reward systems, maybe making it a little bit more enticing to people in other ways might be the route to go. And with that, I mean, personally, when I like to play a tournament, or if I'm playing a battle, I love playing people that I know, that I watch streaming, that I enjoy checking out on YouTube. And so I think if there was a push to bring in higher profile players and streamers into these tournaments, making them more available to the everyday, free to play players, making them more public, and kind of making them a little bit more hyped, almost like not live events, but just mini events that were kind of publicized and everyone could have a chance to really, maybe get their matches, spectated live to somebody who's streaming. I think making it more exciting from that perspective might be another route to really kind of revamp the way that tournaments are now.
Now, I've been thinking a lot about this, and I actually thought of a good idea while we were actually just talking. And what if they made rewards for the tournaments as well as, the cards that you get, little tokens. And what these tokens did was unlock grand challenges. So you can use this token into a grand challenge. So let's just say first place gets 3 tokens, which means he can play 3 grand challenges, which is in essence 300 gems to him. But it's in the form of grand challenges where he's got to go win his cards. Do you think maybe if they had some rewards like that, it would make it a little bit more enticing to play? So at least you still had to fight for your cards? Because I don't think they're ever going to have it so that you can just make a tournament and just sit there and just collect cards ever again. At least in this scenario, you get the tokens, and then you have to play a grand challenge to get your cards still.
Right. I think that's a great idea, because I think that's kind of middle of the road where they don't have to adjust the cards that they're actually giving out. It's just more of giving people the opportunity to play in grand challenges more frequently than they have in the past. And I think one of the toughest things for a free-to-play player who's trying to really improve their tournament game, or maybe even just move into a more competitive scene, is really getting the opportunity to practice the way that they need to. And grand challenges is a great way to see some of the best players who are really trying to improve their game, see some of the best decks. So I think making that more accessible to players is definitely a great thing to do, and that would be a great idea in really helping that out.
Yeah, and I think if you let's just say a 10K gem tournament, right? Let's say you gave out 20 free grand challenges in that for, let's just say, for the top 5, right? For the top 5 spots, you made it however you want to break it down, and that the cards, you can scale it a little bit, so first place would still get, a nice chunk, second and third, and, so on. So it'd still be decent. So it would be decent rewards. And you never know, that way it maybe make it more enticing. And here's the thing, you still get people to play the game, and, they're going to take the tokens that they win. Those 20 tokens are going to go right back into playing grand challenges, to win cards. And if it's going to cost you 10,000 gems as a creator, 2,000 gems, aka 20 tokens, could be a part of the prize pool, no problem, if they want to do something like that.
Yeah.
But, you got anything? Yeah.
I was going to say that's a great idea. And even, I don't know if they were to go with something like I was saying around kind of adding more customization, maybe even that could be a factor of customization for those organizers, saying, I have 20 grand challenge tokens to give out. Am I giving it all or nothing? First place is taking home 20, or are we going to split it among the top 5, top 10? Just another added layer of customization to really just create more layers to the game.
Yeah, 100%. But enough about tournaments. We have another topic that I want to talk about, and this is a burning topic, and I know you have a lot to talk about this, and it is one of the most controversial things in all of Clash Royale, and that is how to fix the over-leveling on ladder.
Yeah, I think I have a much different opinion than a lot of people. I think the most common is we need to somehow link your king tower level to your card level, and at the end of the day, I think that's a really bad idea. I think what's going to happen for players who are maybe at the level 9, level 10, or level 11 king tower range is they're going to want to upgrade their commons to another level, and they're going to essentially pour a bunch of gold into cards that they don't use or don't want to upgrade so that they can get their king tower to a higher level, and then they won't have the gold to upgrade the cards they wanted to initially. And I think for free to play players, gold at the upper levels is a huge level of scarcity, and ultimately I just don't think that that's going to fix the current problem without creating another problem in its wake. I think what the better solution is really tweaking the amount of cards it takes to level up some of those rares and epics. I think currently, it takes about 400, 800, and then 1,000 rare cards to hit level 9, 10, and 11, and that's just a massive amount of cards. And epics, it's I think 50, 100, and 200, and it's too much. And I think if we tweak that, we'll actually achieve a better result. Just to kind of give you a little bit of context on that, I'm a level 13. I've been maxed for about 4 months, and I still don't have a single maxed rare or maxed epic, and I've been playing for 2 years. So I don't understand, how I can't even get one rare maxed, and I think that's a problem. I would love to see the rares upgrading, the amount of cards you need decreasing, maybe 400, 600, 800, or maybe even like 350, 550, and 750 respectively, just to really make it a little bit more accessible for those players to upgrade their rares and epic cards. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, this really came about because Royal Giant was just wreaking havoc on the ladder, level 13, and it's because those level 10 and level 11 players don't have the ability to play the counters that they want. A level 10 Inferno Tower against a level 13 Royal Giant is great, but when you're at 3,500 trophies as a level 10 and you're facing a level 13 Royal Giant and you have level 7 Inferno Tower, it's not going to have the same effect. And ultimately, in order to fix that problem at its core, you need to tweak and scale down the number of cards you need to upgrade those rares and epics at those highest levels. And I think that's going to fix the problem better than linking your card levels to your king tower. It's just going to restrict players in a way that it's going to take away some of the fun of the game.
Yeah, this is like a lot of two sides to the coin here. I do agree that it is a little pricey to max out, your card levels and everything like that. And the main thing is the gold. I really feel that instead of requiring less cards, I think they really need to require less gold than 100,000 and 50,000 for the top tiers. Because 50,000 and 100,000 gold is, in my opinion, absolutely absurd to max out a card. That's 150,000 just at the end, and if you do that, you're just going to hamstring for everything else. So maybe instead of that 150, I would reduce it half to 75, because now you have another 75,000 gold to play around with, and that could then potentially be used into the shop to get more cards to max out quicker. So I feel like the gold at the high end, level 13 and level 12, respectively for commons going down, could ultimately have like a trickle effect in the shop as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an interesting point, but I think reducing the amount of cards it takes to go to level 7 or level 7 or level 8 at Epic, or level 10 or 11 at Rare is a better option, simply because there aren't changes to the mechanics of gold. There are changes to the number of cards in the Rare and Epic tier currently. So when we started and we only had a few Epics, you're pulling epics and you got maybe, a 10% chance of getting the card you need. But now that we have more epics and more rares, we're pulling epics and rares maybe at the same rate, but there's so many more options of cards that we could pull. So it just makes it infinitely tougher for us to upgrade those cards. I've been trying to upgrade Lightning for decades, and we have the Hunter introduced, the rares got the Zappies, and now that's just one more rare card that when you're opening a silver or a gold chest is now might be a Zappies instead, and you're just having difficulty getting the sheer amount of cards you want. in order to upgrade. And as they continue to release more cards, I think it's going to become even worse. And so I think we need to make an adjustment on that end.
All right, all right, all right. So we're looking at, let's just say, a 10% card reduction from 0 to max. I forgot exactly how many cards, it was to max out. But let's just say it's 2,500, right, for rares. Take away, 250 of those. Just take that off the board. Now it's 2225, and do a 50% gold hit to the end, so it's 75,000 less to max out a card for all the cards. I think that might be a decent solution to get more cards in there and to really balance it out. But the main thing that you said, and one thing that I really liked about the mystery chests, was the fact that you can pick, kind of, not so much pick, but you can kind of see into the future of what you could get. Now, how could we implement something like that to really help ladder? Because here's the thing, just like you said, when a new card gets introduced, it's so hard. It's almost impossible to max that out. But on the other hand, it's even harder now to max out your, lightning, as you said, when, a hunter came out, because it's another epic that comes into the game. Would you like to see more customization in the shop to where you could choose kind of like a couple of cards that you want to see, and then like every couple of days it rotates and has a more percentage chance of seeing that card in your shop?
Yeah, I mean, I think you bring up a great point that there's still difficulty getting those cards, and a tweak to the shop might be a good option. But I want to, I guess I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on transitioning the chest towards a draft chest style. Like, I think currently only like the legendary chest and your end of season chest allow you the opportunity of picking an option of your cards. And I don't see how that would be a bad thing to implement on all chests, or almost all chests, silver, gold, giant chests, and giving that flexibility for players to have a little bit more control over the cards that they want to level up or that they need to level up. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think I think you said it perfectly right there. The main problem is getting the cards, that you need. And I feel that, that's a good solution to really help it out. It's almost impossible to come up with a perfect solution for over leveling on ladder because it's been so long into the game. You can't really, I do not agree with you as well, where you can't cap the King Tower out. You can't. You can't cap it out at this point. It's too late into the game. It's going to cost too much. I maxed out E-Barb's Royal Giant, whatever, and now you're going to tell me I'm going to get gold for this and everything like that. It's going to come down. But guess what? That gold does not account for the time that I literally pressed request for 8 months straight to get that card. You're not going to give me enough gold for that 8 months back of my life where I wanted that Royal Ghost or Elite Barbarian.
Exactly. You're sitting there with the gold, and I could have spent 8 months requesting Musketeer instead and be in a better position. So I think you're definitely right on that end.
Yeah. But all right, enough about over leveling cards. The next topic that we have up is friendly battles. Now, in a lot of these pro games, either streamers click it by accident or everything else. Does there need to be a cancel button on the friendly battle preventing other people from getting into a game that they shouldn't be in? Because I've done it myself where I accidentally clicked it and I'm just like, no! Yeah. Or is that too much of a nuisance in the game to where now you have to go through an extra step to get into the game?
I don't think it's going to be a nuisance. I think it's something that does need to be worked on, especially I just had the opportunity to stream one of my first events the other day, and I realized how nervous I was to click the wrong button. At the end of the day, whether it's a cancel button or maybe the person who's requesting has to confirm the person who's accepted, I think it would be incredibly helpful, especially in the more competitive scene, to kind of allow for a little bit more flexibility or forgiveness in the accepting the friendly battles. I think kind of they removed the request or the ability to type in a lot of like content there as well. So I think either a cancel button or something along the lines of the person who's requesting it then has to re-accept the person who's accepted the friendly challenge. Something in that regard might be would definitely be useful and would be very helpful, and I think should be added to the game.
Yeah, I feel like if they just add a simple, just you have to click accept again. Like just another
Yeah,
little accept to it. Another a second
yeah,
tier to it, just to friendly battles, just so it's not too much of a nuisance. I mean, it's just one of those things where you never want to have the problem, especially with all these tournaments now being formed and everything. You never want a streamer to get in there and you're just sitting there like, you just showed my deck, and it just ruins
yeah.
everything. So just in friendly battles, I don't think it'll be too much of a nuisance, and I definitely think it's an ad. And I think almost everybody is in agreement that, especially in the esports scene, is just little simple, just extra tier to it. So if I click it, I can be like, all right, no, I don't want to do it, or maybe even give it like 3 seconds or something to where it just automatically goes at least a
Yeah.
second to cancel.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I don't think it would be too much of a nuisance. I mean, to be honest, I don't friendly battle a lot unless I'm playing in an event. Anyways, usually I'm on ladder or in a challenge, and so I don't know how many people spend their time doing a lot or enormous amount of friendly battles, unless they're in a competitive scene. So I don't think it would be a nuisance at all.
All right. So we're in agreement there. Definitely need an extra tier to the friendly battle to make it a little bit easier to run tournaments in for the community. Pretty much just community tournaments. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about is the last week in esports. We had MGL Worlds. We had USA get defeated. We had Mexico get taken down as well. Two huge upsets. Brazil took out USA, and I was really shocked when that happened. But then you have to look at Venezuela taking down Mexico. Crazy upsets there. On the other side, pretty much what you expected. China took down the Czech Republic / Slovakia, and France definitely did work as well. I don't even remember who France played. That's how bad this is right now.
They played Colombia, I believe.
Yes. So
Yeah.
France took out Colombia, and that was that. And now we have this four tiers that are left. I'm pretty sure that crazy upsets happened. I mean, I think everybody didn't see Mexico and USA being out. I expected that to be the semifinal. Every single bracket got busted there.
Yeah.
Now we have China versus France. What are your thoughts? Who do you think is going to come out of that?
I think it's going to be a close matchup again, but I think China might still have the upper hand. I think they might be slightly favored in the matchup, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to pull out a very small marginal victory there and move on to the finals.
All right.
What are your
And then
thoughts?
I think China's a powerhouse. China has been absolutely amazing this entire pretty much tournament, and I honestly do not think that they're going to get taken out anytime soon. And I think they're a powerhouse that's going to stay for a while. I just do not see anybody taking out China, and I really think that China might actually win the entire thing. But then we have on the other side, on the complete other side, we have Brazil versus Venezuela. Who do you think is going to come out of that?
Yeah, I think that's a tough call there. What I'll say is I think Venezuela beat Mexico by a slightly larger margin than Brazil beat the USA. But I was very impressed with Brazil's the way that Brazil was able to kind of maintain their composure throughout the match. I think they dropped the first best of five and were able to kind of keep their composure throughout the duration of the match, take it all the way to the last game and really bring it home. So I think they might actually be able to pull out the win over Venezuela just from seeing the way that they were able to handle the pressure and really work together as a team there.
I personally think Brazil is also going to win, and I think it's going to be China versus Brazil, and I think it's going to be a classic. I mean, it's going to be absolutely insane. Even if France wins, all four of these teams definitely deserve to be here. They have great players on all four of them, and I'm expecting China Brazil to be the final, and I think China's just going to edge them out towards the end.
Yeah, I actually tend to agree there. It just could go with probably what's the favorite picks, but I think that is the most likely scenario as well. But I'm excited to watch all these matches coming up.
Yeah, all right. Now, what what we also had is we have the RPL playoffs being played. And the first matchup was Nova versus OJ. So the OJ Tribe here. And OJ Tribe did win this 2-0. And I mean, I feel like this is a 50-50 matchup. How do you feel about this of OJ Tribe taking down Nova, one of the powerhouses in this game? I mean, Tribe is also like one of the powerhouses, but you know, this was a big match.
Yeah, I agree with you. It was a fairly balanced match to start. Orange Tribe definitely pulling out a great win here. Definitely disappointed as a member of Nova EG Taurus. I was probably rooting for that a little bit, and I think they have some great players, but a lot of respect for Orange Tribe for pulling out the win there. And I think there was some great gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, MVP Potato here closing out both sets. And you know, the Hunter was banned by Nova, an interesting ban there. That's, you know, you can ban the Royal Ghost or the Goblin Hut. You know, it's an interesting ban.
Yeah. Who knows with a different ban, there might have been a different match, but we'll never know, I guess.
Well, now we have the second matchup was Team Queso America versus Sandstorm, and this was one of those. Whoa, Team Queso got pretty much 2-0'd and I wouldn't say crushed, but, you know, it was pretty surprising. I mean, they played pretty well throughout the entire, you know, tournament, and then Sandstorm just absolutely demolished them with a 2-0 here, and MVP, I mean, look at him, Bernstein Cat. It's 2-0, closed out both. I mean, and Bernstein Cat for MVP.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a lot of pressure there, taking the fifth match on both sets, and I think again here a pretty close match on paper. So well played by Sandstorm to pull it out. Definitely a great win from them.
Yeah, now we got our next match was Magic Esports versus Sandstorm LA. Magic Esports, the Game Hunters clan, and this one actually went the distance. Goblin Hut and Royal Ghost were banned. Pretty much standard bans we were talking about. Ghost and Hut are probably going to get a little, you know, rework and a little nerf coming in here. But what are we looking at here?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're looking at probably one of the closer matchups of this week, and definitely agree. There's the ban selection here was probably a little bit more applicable to what we're going to be seeing in these upcoming balance changes. Definitely some great gameplay. Unfortunately, I think I think that Mage was unable to kind of show up in the third set, dropping 3 straight, was really unfortunate. But I think they did well in kind of taking it all the way to 3 sets. So well played by them.
Yeah, well played by them, and Sandstorm LA going to pick up the win. Good win for them, and they're going to be moving on. Now, the next matchup was Cream versus Sandstorm White. Interesting here. Sandstorm, huge name. Cream, Koji Stan's clan, the Spanish caster, and this was a 2-1. This also went the distance. I mean, 5 first set, 5 the second set, and then 4. But it is a shock that they didn't go that far. But look at this lineup.
Yeah.
I mean, they have pretty much everybody from LATAM on Cream.
Yeah, no, they definitely have a great lineup over here, and once again, you'll see the Goblin Hut and Royal Ghost ban, some great choices, and I think Sandstorm was hoping to switch it up in the third set, bringing in Go Hawks as a sub, but unfortunately, that wasn't able to make the difference that they needed.
Yeah, unfortunately, just was not enough there. Cream Esports is going to be moving on, and that is the Americas section of this. So let's take a look at how the Americas bracket is shaping up. Hold on, while I get this on the screen here. There it is. All right. So this is the Americas bracket shaping up. We have OJ Tribe versus Sandstorm. That's going to be the finals of the winners bracket. And in the losers bracket, we have Nova Esports versus Sandstorm LA and Team Queso versus Cream. So in the losers bracket, these teams are not out yet. There still is a chance for them to come. But when they get into the grand final, it's a double grand final. Winners bracket has the advantage. You have to beat them twice in 2 best-of-3s. So it is a little disadvantage there. Tribe versus Sandstorm. Who do you think is going to take that win?
That's a tough matchup, but I think I'm going to go with Orange Tribe here. I think after their performance against Nova Esports, I think they definitely proved that they have what it takes to take it on the next round. So I definitely think that they might be able to squeak out a win over Sandstorm here. Probably take it to 3 sets again, but I think they can get the W here. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think OJ Tribe could take it. I mean, Sandstorm is also one of the strong team. I think this is a 50-50 matchup. Could go either way. I think it's gonna be who has their Wheaties for breakfast is gonna win this one. But we'll see. It's still to be seen, and then they're gonna make it to the grand finals on February 3rd. And on the losers bracket here, we have Nova Esports versus Sandstorm LA, and then Team Queso versus Cream. Which two teams do you think are going to come out of this?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Nova Esports here again in the bottom bracket, pulling out the win over Sandstorm LA. I think they have a great team, and unfortunately had a tough run in with Orange Tribe, but I think they can pull a 2-0 on Sandstorm LA. So that's what I'm going to be predicting out of that match. And then probably from Team Queso and Cream is going to be a close match. Really tough to call, but I'm actually going to lean a little bit towards Team Queso, even though I'm not sure that they'd be favored in the matchup. But I really think that they're going to be able to pull it out, probably take it to 3 sets as well. But that's what I'm expecting down in the lose bracket. What about you?
All right, I think Nova's going to take the win versus Sandstorm LA. I think Sandstorm LA had a really good run. But they're just the weaker of the teams, plain and simple. For there, I think Nova's going to take that, and I think maybe Cream might take the upset over Team Queso, but it's always hard. Team Queso is one of those powerhouses in there, and I think it's very interesting to see what really happens here. But I do think that Nova and Cream will be making it on to the losers bracket. Now, let's take a look at EU. So now we're going to go over to EU. And the matchup of EU was Battle of the Cheese. Arena Casito versus Team Queso. And look at this. Arena Casito took down Team Queso. Is this an upset or is this... what are we looking at here?
I think calling this an upset would be an understatement. This was quite a crazy 2-0. I mean, if you look at the Team Queso lineup, they're rocking Saint Belkin, Surgical Goblin, and Soking, as well as Adrian Piedra and Kuchil. I mean, they're rocking a stacked lineup. Honestly, I'm surprised that they got 2-0'd here. I think that's pretty shocking. Very well played by Arena Casito.
Yeah, crazy by Arena Casito. I mean, these are just the new up-and-coming players, and you got to give them props. They beat the main team, It's kind of like when you have freshman versus senior, when you have JV versus varsity matchups, in high school, college, Arena Casito took it, yeah. and now yeah. Team Queso, is kind of going to have to regroup because that's a tough loss to lose to your own team and the B team, mind you.
Yeah, definitely, and I have a feeling just Arena Casito did their homework a little bit, and we're bringing their A game, so they definitely followed through on everything that I think they probably prepared for.
Yep, and let's take a look at this next matchup, because I'm pretty sure everybody thinks and knows that that's an upset. When the B team beats an A team, you know it's an upset. Yeah, so let's take a look at this. We got Team Repulse versus Rex. What do we got here? It went the distance.
Yeah, it looks like we got Repulse pulling the 2-1. Well played by them. I think we see the classic Goblin Hut band, but this time we see Minor in the 3rd set. Trying to see if that can pull up the difference, but ultimately that maybe wasn't the best band decision because they weren't able to win the match, and Repulse pulls that away. What do you think?
Repulse played amazing. I mean, they lost the first set and then came roaring back, in the reverse sweep on the next 2. Set 2, they put down their foot. McHugh came in, Dipbits came out, and they just performed. And 1, 2, 3, all of a sudden you're looking at the 3rd set. Stacked lineup from Repulse, and I think they were favored, and, they're going to be moving on. Now, the next matchup we got is Nova Esports EU versus E-Monkeys. Now, look at Nova's roster.
Yeah.
Azilis, Doberman, Jigsaw, Cutie, Baron, and Lupanji. And Trainer Chris as well. That is an absolute monstrous lineup. And then you look at E-Monkeys and you're like, what? Who?
Yeah, I gotta say it's a disappointing loss for Nova over here. You couldn't have said it better. There's a stacked lineup, almost as good as the Arena Queso, or the Team Queso, excuse me, lineup that we saw earlier. This is a stacked team, and I definitely wouldn't have predicted this end result here.
No, I think it's a complete upset, and congrats to E-Monkeys. Greatly played by them, and they deserve it. I mean, taking down that roster from Nova, definitely something to be, that's an accomplishment all in itself. Definitely an upset. Underdog won this one, no doubt about that. And then the final matchup we have is Team Repulse again, versus, what are these? The Munich Gaming. So this is the German team, Trimax German team versus the second team from Team Repulse. And what do we got here?
It looks like we had Repulse showing up a little bit late to the match, but they came in style, pulling out the back two sets, 3-1 in both of them, and well played by them. Another Goblin Hut ban, and I'm surprised they were able to pull out the win here, but they did a great job of, I think, regrouping after that first set, and I guess the Mega Minion ban was a well played and well thought out decision by them.
Yeah, no, definitely. They got the win. Vendetta, Big Spin, Flobby, Bachu, Fam, and Hans. I mean, a huge lineup by Munich, just was not able to pull the win versus Team Repulse. And let's just take a quick look at the bracket for Europe here. And here we got Repulse A versus Arena Casito. Oof, crazy even to say that they beat the main team. And then you got Munich Esports versus Team Repulse and Team Queso versus the E-Monkeys. First off, Team Repulse versus Arena Casito. Who do you think is going to come out on top?
I definitely like to ride the hot hand, and I think after Arena's Casito upset this week, I think I'm going to have to pick them to keep going and make it on to the next round. Probably most likely a little bit of an underdog here, but I think they got what it takes, and I think they proved it this week. So definitely going to pick them. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think Arena Casito might win it. I mean, they beat the main team with the stacked lineup, but this is going to be a battle of Goliaths. I mean, it's hard to go against C. McHugh, Trainer Dip Pits, and all them and friends, but at the same time, Arena Casito just took down the Goliath roster of Team Queso. I'm going to go Team Repulse, but I'm not going to sit here and say, oh my God, if Arena Casito takes the victory.
Right.
Now we have Munich Esports versus Team Repulse. Who do you think is going to come out with this? The B team of Team Repulse versus Munich Esports. Who do you think is coming out of this? Trimax, the Germans, or Team Repulse?
I'm probably going to lean towards Munich Esports here. I think the Flobby is a great player, going to help bring out a solid performance from his team. So I think Munich's going to pull out the win here, but I think this is going to be a close match, 3 sets most likely. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a 3 sets, and I think Team Munich Esports is going to take the victory here. I think they are going to be moving on, and I think they are going to be a contender to go with Team Queso, who I'm going to be saying is going to be winning versus E-Monkeys. So I'm thinking it's going to be Munich Esports versus E-Monkeys versus Team Queso on the January 25th. Team Queso versus E-Monkeys. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree that Team Queso is probably going to pull out the win there, especially after a loss this week. I think they'll definitely regroup and come ready to play. And if I were to expect anything, I would say I think Team Queso is going to do its best to get a rematch against Arena Casito in the future and see if they can pull out the win. So I think they're going to move forward to this next round.
Yeah, I think it'll be really interesting to see them versus Arena Casito 100%. That might happen again. In some way, shape, or form in RPL Europe, but they still got a long road to go to make that happen. That was the roundup of esports, and that's it for the first show. That's all we got. I think it went pretty well. I mean, what are your thoughts? How we can improve this, or going forward?
I mean, I thought this went pretty well too. I think we had a lot of great topics to cover tonight. I always love talking balance changes and speculating those. So, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to doing more of those in the future. I think it was a great first episode here, and definitely appreciate you bringing me on as the featured guest co-host here.
No, thank you for coming on. Lord Stark, everybody, he is going to be streaming on Twitch as well. He's a streamer. His link is going to be on the description below to find him. His Twitter, everything you need to know is going to be in the description of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know if you got maybe any topics you want us to cover in the future, any improvements that we can make. The overlay is going to change a little bit. It's going to get a little bit better. Kind of just threw this together to get our first one going. But let me know in the comments below what you guys think and what we can improve on. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. All right, that was pretty good. It wasn't bad. We're staying here, by the way. Everybody on Twitch, we're actually staying. We're not.